coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo with primetime news on this Wednesday evening. A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening and welcome. I am Shahin Durampati and these are our headlines.
President informs legal bodies delaying investigations into the CBSL bond scam is an obstruction towards serving justice. Chief Justice appoints 3 trials at bar to hear cases on Ratu Paswala shooting, disappearance of Prageet Eknaligoda and avant-garde floating armoury. Rauf Hakim urges UNP to decide on the presidential candidate before forming the alliance. Ajit P. Pereira responds to Akila Viraj's letter regarding disciplinary inquiry.
And now for those stories in detail. A key meeting took place at the Presidential Secretariat today on investigations regarding the central bank bond scam. Newsfirst Zulfiq Farzan joins us now from the Presidential Secretariat.
President Maithripala Sirisena summoned officials from the Attorney General's Department, law enforcement agencies and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to the Presidential Secretariat today for a very important meeting on the central bank treasury bond scam investigations. The President, in his statement to these officials, had said it is important not to delay these investigations as a delay could pose a hindrance in serving out justice. Now, 4 interim reports have been presented to the President, and in December, further reports with affidavits will be handed over to the President regarding the progress of these investigations. Now, the officials of the Attorney General's Department had said cases were filed against those responsible for the offences committed under the Penal Code. Now, the central bank treasury bond scam took place on the 27th of February 2015. The immediate loss, according to the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, is 688 million rupees, and according to experts, that could go even beyond 11 billion rupees as speculated by many. This is because they still require the data of the secondary market transactions of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, one of the suspects listed in the case. Now, the chief suspect in this case, Arjuna Mahendran, the ex-central bank governor, is nowhere to be found. PTL beneficial owner Arjuna Aloysius and its CEO Kasun Palisena, who were named as suspects as well, were arrested on Independence Day 2018 and were remanded for almost 11 months before they were granted bail under strict conditions. The investigations are still continuing. Now, over the years, we've seen how many attempted to divert the attention away from the central bank treasury bond scam, how many top position holders visited the President and tried to divert the attention of the central bank treasury bond scam to various other avenues. However, following today's meeting, it is evident that the President wants these investigations to continue, and those responsible must be brought before the law and punished accordingly, and that is what the people also aspire for. So it is now clear that the loss caused to this country by looting the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the EPF, where the people's hard-earned money go to for their retirement, was looted, and now the agencies have been advised and instructed by the President to ensure that the investigations are done expeditiously and those responsible brought before the law. Zulfiq Farzan for Newsfirst from the Presidential Secretariat.
Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya appointed 3 3-member trials at bar to hear cases on the Ratu Paswala shooting, the enforced disappearance of Prageet Eknaligoda and the avant-garde floating armoury.
On the application of Attorney General Dappula de Oliveira, Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya appointed a trial at bar in the Ratu Paswala shooting case led by Justice Menaka Vijay Sundara and will comprise Justices Nimal Ranavira and Nishanta Hapuarachi. The Chief Justice appointed a trial at bar in the Eknaligoda abduction and disappearance case led by Justice Sampath Abekon and will comprise Justices Sampath Wijeratna and Gihan Kulatunga. The Chief Justice appointed a trial at bar in the avant-garde high seas arms trafficking case led by Justice Dhammika Ganepala and will comprise Justices Aditya Patabadige and Manjula Tilakaratna.
Welcome back to the news. JVP parliamentarian Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa made the following comments in Colombo yesterday.
Our country entered into an agreement with America for the first time in 1995. SOFA was entered into by GL Pires. The biggest allegation he had was being included in a list of people who were paid by the CIA. He is one who became the subsequent chairman of the SLPP. Basil Rajapaksa, who does not even have the slightest intention of renouncing his American citizenship, is the organizer of the SLPP. Gotabaya, who is another American citizen, has been appointed as a presidential candidate of the SLPP. Whom did Mahinda Rajapaksa meet before announcing Gotabaya as the presidential candidate? He met the US ambassador and the acting assistant secretary of the Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs. The leaders of the UNP do not want to let go of the power they have. Their aim is to appoint a puppet character and achieve their objectives. The US ambassador released statements when Shavindra Silva was appointed army commander. But there was no reaction from the US embassy before he was appointed the army commander and he was serving in the army. Nor when the former Secretary of Defense Gotabaya was appointed as the presidential candidate. When assessing all these factors and scenarios, you can see what kind of plans the US draw up in order to weaken a country and control it according to their will.
MP Vima Veerawangsa made the following comments to the media after leaving court.
It is important for the talks to be successful. What is even more important is rather than placing faith on one particular person, it is important to have faith on the votes secured by the party at the recent local government polls.
A special discussion took place last evening between President Maithripala Sirisena and leader of the opposition Mahinda Rajapaksa. It is reported that matters relating to the proposed alliance between the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna had been discussed at length. The result of the discussion held yesterday between representatives of the two parties was to be conveyed to the respective party leaders. President Maithripala Sirisena, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya and Minister Sajith Premadasa attended an event held in Colombo today. The event was held to commemorate the completion of 1,620 years since Chinese national Fahian Thero visited Sri Lanka.
Details regarding an alleged meeting between the President, Prime Minister and Minister Ravi Karunanayake were revealed at the media briefing organized by the joint opposition.
According to this news item, why is the Prime Minister and Ravi Karunanayake meeting with the President all of a sudden in a bid to abolish presidency? They would require a two-thirds majority in Parliament in order to bring forth an amendment to the Constitution. Further, they would need to call for a referendum. This is not something that can be done overnight. If such a proposal has been brought forward, the main reason behind it should be their inability to face the presidential election. This has been brought forward as a plan to stop the division of certain factions. There is no rationality behind this.
Journalists inquired from the General Secretary of the United National Party, Akila Viraj Karyavasam, regarding disciplinary action he instituted against two non-cabinet ministers of the party. The journalists posed these questions following an event held in Colombo today.
A lot of people are my good friends, but I have to take decisions as the party secretary. There have been queries regarding certain statements and situations.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයාගේ පස්සේ යනවා කියන කතාවක් ওই සමගම කියනවා. ඒ සම්බන්ධවත් එක්ක තමයි මේ විනය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගේන්නේ කියන කතාවක් කියන්නේ. ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකවරු තෝරන්නේ හන්දි ගානේ නෙමෙයිනේ. ඒක තමයි රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා වැඩ කරන්නේ නැත්නම් වැඩක් වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් නියෝජ්‍ය නායකයා වැඩක් කරනවා නම් ඔහු highlight වීම ඒක සාමාන්‍ය ස්වභාවයක් නේද? ඇයි ඔබතුමන්ලා ඒක මේ පිළිගන්නේ නැත්තේ?
අපි නායකයයි නියෝජ්‍ය නායකයා දෙන්නම බේරගෙන එකමුතුකම තියන්න.
We will handle both the leader and the deputy leader. Please do not create any issues. If all of us are properly fulfilling our duties, we will do so as politicians. It is your responsibility as media institutions to work independently and to not be partisan. We all must move forward together. We cannot allow a split to occur. Media companies do not name the candidate. We will work when the time is right. As the General Secretary of the party, I must say, we can only work according to our agenda. We will not name candidates based on some other agenda.
න්‍යාය පත්‍රයට තමයි යන්නේ වෙන න්‍යාය පත්‍රයකට අපි අපේක්ෂකව නම් කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Good evening. Minister Akila Viraj Karyavasam seems to be acting hesitantly and irately in front of the media as of late. Is it because the minister is enraged at the media? We would like to know the true reason behind the minister's behavior. As you might have seen from the previous news item, Minister Karyavasam states that the media should not be the judge of whether they are fulfilling their duties or not. By them, I meant the politicians of this country or the responsible people of this country. He has also stated that various media institutions have distorted the truth while expressing their own opinions. Is it so? However, why is the minister so hesitant all of a sudden? The exposés and revelations we make are not based on the activities conducted by the minister or any other public official, for that matter, through money which comes out from their own pocket. The revelations we made were regarding a large-scale malfeasance which was about to occur at the Ministry of Education, and that is the scam that was about to be carried out under the guise of providing tabs to school children. Is it not through the public funds or the taxpayers' money that the people of this country that these tabs are being bought? Therefore, as the fourth pillar of democracy, is it not our responsibility as the media to point out these misdealings to the nation? However, we will not stop reporting on these matters. It should also be pointed out that our intention was not to oppose this move of tabs being distributed to school children. It certainly should be done as it is a lucrative initiative. However, we questioned the method or procedure as it seems to be doubtful and dubious. The cabinet memorandum which we brought to your attention yesterday includes similar details that we brought to your attention on previous occasions. Our first doubt was as to what sort of educational purpose would be fulfilled through providing these tabs. Now, according to this cabinet memorandum, the learning content or the syllabi recommended by the National Institute of Education or the NIE must be purchased from the open market. Where can the content recommended by the NIE be found? Although they are attempting to purchase these tabs, they do not seem to have even a rough idea of what they would be utilized for. And that is one fact of many. The other fact is that the Ministry of Education chose the most expensive bidder in the process of buying these tabs, attempting to pay a gargantuous sum of 7.2 billion rupees. However, luckily this was struck down by the Procurement Appeal Board, stating it was wrongful to choose the most expensive bidder. And there were many other revelations we made yesterday regarding this matter. Moreover, the initial decision was to distribute the tabs for a period of 5 years, and that is a perfectly justifiable decision because tabs are things such as tabs are technological equipment which would become defunct over a period of 5 years. However, later it was decided to provide tabs for just 2 years, which means they will have to purchase new tabs every 2 years. Is this not a waste? Is this not the political bodies of the country squandering millions and billions of hard-earned money of the taxpayers of our nation. Are there no pressing matters in the education sector that requires funding? Should this be on the top of the priority list of the Ministry of Education? We report, you decide.
The following was the response of Minister Ajit P. Pereira regarding the letter sent by Minister Akila Viraj Karyawasam inquiring details about disciplinary action.
Because our group, including Ajit Pereira and Sujiva Sen Singh, spoke of Sajid Premadasa, they send us letters in order to frighten us. They will not frighten us. When we were never afraid of the Rajapaksas, can these letters frighten us? If the death threats never frighten us, will these letters even matter? If the death threats received during the 52-day political turmoil never frightened us, will these letters frighten us? No, we are not afraid. Now, there are many figures in our party who claim they are suitable to be a presidential candidate. So in that case, such individuals should also be questioned in this regard. I believe this is illogical. Therefore, the party chairman and the secretary should discuss and solve these matters prior to sending out these letters. This is all I have to say. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, who was accused of protecting perpetrators, was removed from the party in October. He later joined the other side. So where is the disciplinary inquiry against Vijayadasa Rajapaksa? Where is the disciplinary inquiry against Puttalam District MP Upali Priyantha? The central bank bond scam that disgraced the party. There is one person who we all know was involved in the scam. What about a disciplinary inquiry against him? The Prime Minister and the entire cabinet is benefiting today as a result of our struggles. When I raised my voice then, no one spoke against it. I would like to point out very clearly, I am not afraid and I do not owe anything to anyone. Is this an attempt to lure us to join the opposition? Does this party include members who oppose Sajid Premadasa becoming the next president of this country?
එහෙම විපක්ෂයේ හිටියත් අපිට හොඳයි අපි සජිත් ජනාධිපති වුණාට කැමති නෑ කියලා කියන අය මේ පක්ෂයේ ඉන්නවද?
Here are views expressed at a media briefing today.
It was reported on newspapers today that 1.2 billion rupees have gone missing from the Central Cultural Fund and that the Prime Minister has instructed to hold an investigation. On one hand, as the Mahasangha, we are disappointed and are against this. I would like to ask what their political motive behind this is. We challenge them before Sajid Premadasa, who provided money to construct temples, churches and kovils, who even attempted to build sanitary facilities. We would like to ask the Prime Minister, how shameful is it to sling mud at someone as humble as Minister Sajid Premadasa while encouraging MPs and ministers who robbed the country? Prime Minister, even if you sling the garbage in the Bay of Vaver at Sajid Premadasa, we will ensure that Minister Sajid Premadasa will be the state's leader.
Sajid Amadutuma me matru bhumi rajya nayakaya karana eka karanawamai kiyala mataka tiyaganna.
Construction of Dhamma schools that provide Dhamma education has been considered as the malpractice. We are disappointed since they seem to be comparing it with fraud and corruption relating to aircrafts and banks. The majority of Theras are gathering around Minister Sajid Premadasa and we see this as an attempt to oppose it.
Sri Lanka Muslim Congress leader Minister Rauf Hakim was grilled by journalists today on how the SLMC would support the new alliance formed by the United National Front.
I must make it clear, we will attend the signing of the formation of an alliance only after the United National Party reaches a decision on its presidential election candidate. Yesterday, the party leaders met with the UNP leadership and requested for this issue to be resolved, and he gave an assurance. If we are to face an election, we need a leader who is popular among the people. The UNP must make the decision.
සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතාගේ නම තමයි දැන් ගොඩක් ඇහෙන්නේ. ඒක ඔබතුමාලා එතුමාන්ට කැමැත්ත දක්වනවද නැත්නම් තීරණයක් නැද්ද තාම?
If the people favor him, the UNP must accept it and decide.
Parliamentarian Mahindananda Alutgamage expressed the following views during a media briefing convened by the Podujana Perumuna.
කුමාර වෙල්ගම් මහත්තයා අපේ පැත්තේ ඉඳලා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයට ගිහිල්ලා තමන්ගේ තමන්ට විරුද්ධව තිබ්බ නඩු දෙක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා බේරපු හින්දා
Kumaravelgama is now supporting the UNP because Ranil Wickremesinghe released him from the 2 court cases against him. His brother was due to be arrested and imprisoned for a matter relating to spare parts and tobacco. However, Ranil Wickremesinghe had made a call and stopped this. And now Kumaravelgama speaks of the presidential candidate. He speaks of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. He now speaks of white vans. I have with me a question that was raised in Parliament by Udaya Gamanpila during Mahinda Rajapaksa's second term as president, which was during the period between the 6th of January 2010 and 8th January 2015. How many journalists were abducted? And if any were abducted, clearly state their names and the dates they were abducted. This question was posed to Minister Sagala Ratnayaka. However, Sagala Ratnayaka was not present in Parliament to answer this question, and therefore MP Gayantha Karunatilaka answers the question instead. No complaint was lodged against the abduction of journalists during the said time period.
එම කාල සීමාව තුළදී සුදුවැන් මගින් මාධ්‍යවෙන් පැහැර ගැනීමක් සම්බන්ධව කිසිදු පැමිණිල්ලක් නැත. 2 පැන නොනගී 3 පැන නොගී 4 පැන නොනගී. මේ පොලිසිය භාර ඇමතිවරයා පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට දෙන උත්තරේ.
The public has not forgotten the actions of the minister in charge of police, who MP Mahindananda Alutgamage refers to. The following telephone call that was received by then Inspector General of Police is a fitting example.
Good morning, sir. Is this an urgent matter, sir? I will call you. Yes, I wanted a director FCID to check on that and come back to me, but yesterday I was late after finishing this commitment. මට ඒක හම්බ වෙනවා සර්, මට ඒක හම්බ වෙනවා. ඒකේ තමයි විස්තර ටිකක් අරගෙන I come back to you. That is නිලමේස් matter, නිලමේස්. නෑ එන්න කියලා තියෙනවා අනිවාර්යෙන් සර් arrest වෙන්නේ නෑ. මම ඒක පැහැදිලිව කිව්වා ඩිරෙක්ටර්ට මගෙන් අහලා අවසරයක් නැතුව විතක්ක නිකන් නිකරුණේ arrest කරන්න එපා. That is perfect. It is definitely sir. He won't be arrested. නෑ එහෙම නෑ. එහෙම නෑ මම ඒක අහලා බැලුවා ඉස්සල්ලා ඒක. නෑ. It has been very reasonable no sir. Oh. Right sir, I'll come back to you. Thank you sir. Thank you sir.
The IGP who responded to the minister's phone call in such a manner is now under suspension. At present, he is also compelled to provide statements to the judiciary for evading duties. If the IGP was compelled to face such a situation as a consequence for his actions, what will be the fate of the MPs and ministers who made such phone calls to conceal the corrupt transactions of the previous government?
Come back. General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance, MP Mahinda Amaravira, expressed the following views during a media briefing today.
We hope to hold discussions with the presidential candidate of the SLPP, Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Now, with regard to disciplinary action, the Central Working Committee of the UPFA discussed this matter in depth. We will launch disciplinary inquiries against National List MPs who obtain membership of other parties. If a National List MP decided to withdraw from our party, they must resign from their respective positions in a dignified manner. If we are to establish any form of political collaboration, we will only do so by protecting and preserving our party's identity. If not, we will go forward independently. We will never allow anything that is detrimental to this party.
Police fired water cannons and tear gas to disperse protesting university students in Colombo this afternoon. The protest was organized by the Inter-University Students' Federation.
University students marched from the Technical Junction in Colombo against the bill on higher education, quality assurance and accreditation and other demands. Our correspondent said police decided to temporarily close the road leading to the presidential secretariat as the university students attempted to proceed to it. Thereafter, police fired tear gas and water cannons to disperse the protesting university students who attempted to move towards the presidential secretariat. The university students then remained on site and voiced their objections. Heavy traffic was reported in Maradana and Peta due to the protest by university students.
Welcome back. The research documents of the Gum at the Door-to-Door project was handed over today to the Engineers Without Borders organization of the University of Maryland Students Chapter in Washington, D.C.
Changing the lives of millions in rural Sri Lanka, Gum has so far also been recognized by many foreign organizations, including the United Nations, at the World Humanitarian Summit. The Gum research documents were also recognized and accepted by the Oxford University and are now available in the Oxford Library and its online platform. The Engineers Without Borders organization, through its University of Maryland student chapter, has engaged in international community-based projects in several countries, including Peru, Ghana and Nicaragua. Its president, Mr. Donald D'Alvis, and past president, Mr. Nipun Kottage, who are of Sri Lankan descent, were present at an event held at the university premises to accept the research documents today. They both highlighted the importance of the research documents of Gammadda that have been compiled together with the University of Peradeniya and noted that the research could be instrumental in the various projects that they do worldwide and in Sri Lanka. They were accompanied by a project manager of the EWD Students Chapter of the UMD, Miss Saheli Patel.
Dr. Syedna Mufaddal Saifuddin, the spiritual leader of the international Dawoodi Bohra community, arrived in the island this afternoon.
The spiritual leader arrived as a state guest to the country along with a contingent and was welcomed at the Bandaranaike International Airport by several ministers, including Arjuna Ranatunga, John Amaratunga and Wasantha Senanayake. Dr. Syedna Mufaddal Saifuddin will attend the first ever carbon-neutral Ashura Mubarakah sermons, a 10-day spiritual convention which will draw 21,000 religious visitors from 40 countries. During his stay, His Holiness will also interact with local community members and meet with senior government officials to discuss matters regarding various topics. The convention has been organized by the Ministry of Tourism Development and the Bohra community in the country.
Fitz Air performed its first ever international passenger charter flight by a local private operator from Sri Lanka yesterday.
The international passenger charter flight from Ratmalana to Vishakhapatnam was operated by Fitz Air on its 70-seater ATR 72 aircraft. Whilst recording a historical first by any private local air operator, Fitz Air has played a very silent but crucial role in the development of the local private commercial aviation industry. The flight took off as scheduled and arrived ahead of schedule at Vishakhapatnam. Fitz Air is an international freighter operator based and operating out of Katunayaka Cargo Hub serving the region. Fitz Air operates passenger flights out of RMA and BIA to domestic airports.
And that brings tonight's edition of News First Primetime News to a close. Thank you very much for watching. I am Shahin Jurampati.
And I am Mahina Bongzo. Take care and good night.